Ladies and gentlemen, do you know why most people lose their peace of mind? It is not because of life's struggles, but because they allow too many people to have access to their inner world. We live in a time where everyone wants to share everything, their dreams, their failures, their struggles, their next move, with the whole world. But let me tell you something powerful. The more people know about you, the more power they have over you. Ladies and gentlemen, silence is one of the most underestimated powers in our lives. We live in a world where speaking out, expressing every thought, and sharing every detail has become the norm. People believe that to be heard is to be strong, that to be loud is to be relevant, and that to constantly speak is to stay important. But the truth is, wisdom is not in the noise. Wisdom lies in silence. Silence is not about weakness. It is about strength. It is not about ignorance. It is about awareness. It is not about hiding. It is about understanding when to reveal and when to remain still. Think about it. How many times have you shared something in excitement only to regret later that the person you shared it with did not deserve to know? How many times have you spoken in anger and those words ended up hurting someone, or even worse, hurting you in return? Silence teaches us control. It is a discipline that keeps us from saying what we will later wish we had not said. It gives us space to think before we act, to process before we react, and to preserve our dignity before we let emotions take control of us. Silence is wisdom because it allows you to observe. When you are silent, you hear what others do not hear. You notice what others overlook, and you learn what others miss. The world is constantly talking, constantly shouting, constantly rushing, but the silent ones are the ones who truly understand. They listen, they watch, they reflect, and in that reflection, they grow. The greatest leaders, the strongest minds, and the most peaceful souls are those who mastered the art of silence. They don't need to announce their every move. They let their actions become their voice. Ladies and gentlemen, silence is wisdom because it protects your spirit. Not every opinion needs to be shared, not every feeling needs to be explained, and not every battle needs to be fought with words. Sometimes the greatest strength you can show is to remain silent. People will provoke you, people will test you, people will even misunderstand you, but your silence will speak louder than arguments ever could. Silence disarms conflict. Silence protects your peace. Silence shields you from being dragged into the storms of unnecessary drama. And silence is not just about what you don't say to others. It is also about what you whisper to yourself. In silence, you connect with your inner voice. In silence, you hear the answers that the noise of the world tries to drown. In silence, you find clarity, purpose, and strength. Have you ever noticed how peaceful the world feels in the early morning when everything is still and silent? That peace is the power of silence. It brings calmness to the heart, and from that calmness comes wisdom. Silence is also wisdom because it keeps your life safe from unnecessary judgment. The more you speak, the more people think they know you. The more you share, the more people feel they can define you. But when you embrace silence, you keep a part of your life sacred. You keep your thoughts, your dreams, and your struggles in a space where only you and your Creator can touch them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is wisdom. Because wisdom is not about letting the world into your every thought. Wisdom is about choosing what to reveal and what to protect. Let us not confuse silence with fear. Silence is not about being afraid to speak. Silence is about knowing when to speak and when to remain still. The right words at the right time can change a life, but too many words at the wrong time can destroy one. Silence teaches us patience, and patience teaches us timing, and timing is the essence of wisdom. Those who rush to speak often regret, but those who choose silence rarely do. In silence, you grow. In silence, you heal. In silence, you protect your dignity. There is power in walking away without explanation. There is power in not responding to negativity. There is power in keeping your plans within you until they are ready to shine. Silence is wisdom because silence allows the noise around you to fade so that the truth within you can rise. And when you live by this truth, You no longer need the world's approval because you have already mastered the greatest art of strength, the art of staying silent when the world expects you to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where everyone is eager to display their lives for the world to see, where every moment is shared, every thought is posted, and every plan is announced, privacy has become a rare treasure. People often confuse openness with honesty. They think that revealing every detail about their lives makes them authentic and strong. But the truth is, it makes them vulnerable. Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is protection. It is a shield that guards your dreams, your peace, your relationships, and your future from the unnecessary interference of others. When you protect your privacy, you protect your energy. Every time you share your struggles with the wrong person, you open a door for them to use your pain against you. Every time you announce your goals before achieving them, you give others the chance to discourage you, to doubt you, or even to sabotage your progress. Privacy keeps you safe from opinions that were never meant to shape your destiny. It keeps you free from voices that will try to dictate what you should or should not do. The truth is, not everyone wants the best for you. Not everyone clapping for you is clapping with sincerity. And the less people know, the less power they have to harm you. Privacy also protects your peace of mind. When you constantly share your life, you unintentionally invite judgment. People start to form opinions about you, about your choices, about your decisions, and even about your failures. Some may even gossip, criticize, or laugh behind your back. But when you learn the art of keeping things to yourself, you deny people the opportunity to sit in judgment over your journey. You remain free, unbothered, and peaceful because what they don't know, they cannot attack. Silence and privacy together form a wall of protection that no unnecessary negativity can cross. Think about how a seed grows. It is buried deep in the soil, hidden from the world, protected by the earth. Nobody sees the seed struggle. Nobody watches its silent growth. And nobody is aware of its transformation underground. And then, one day, it breaks through the soil as a strong, beautiful plant. That is the wisdom of privacy. It teaches you to grow in silence, to work quietly, and to protect your progress until you are strong enough to face the world. If the seed were exposed too early, it would never survive. And in the same way, if you expose your plans and dreams too soon, they may wither under the weight of unnecessary interference. Privacy also guards your relationships. Too many people lose their peace because they allow outsiders to know too much about their personal connections. The moment you share every detail of your friendships, your family, or your love life with the world, you open the door for envy, judgment, and manipulation. Some people do not want to see you happy, and their negativity can plant seeds of doubt where there was once trust. Protect what you love by keeping it private. Not everything needs to be displayed. Not every bond needs to be explained. What is sacred should remain guarded, because privacy is the fence that protects the garden of your relationships. And privacy is not just about keeping others out. It is about keeping yourself safe within. It is about maintaining a sacred space where your thoughts, your prayers, and your reflections belong only to you. The world does not need to know your every move, your every tear, or your every hope. Some things are meant to be shared only with your Creator, and in that privacy lies true strength. Because when you pour out your heart in silence, when you protect your deepest desires, you are giving them the chance to grow without being crushed by the weight of public opinion. Privacy is protection because it preserves your dignity. When you hold back from sharing too much, you maintain control over your own story. You decide what the world gets to know and what remains yours. And there is incredible power in that choice. Nobody can twist what they do not know. Nobody can misinterpret what you have not revealed, and nobody can destroy what they cannot see. Privacy gives you control over your life's narrative. It allows you to walk with confidence, knowing that what is hidden is safe and what is safe is strong. Ladies and gentlemen, the more you protect your privacy, the more you protect your future. You don't owe the world an explanation for every step you take. You don't have to reveal every dream before it blooms, and you don't need to share every battle while you are still fighting it. Privacy allows you to build your life in peace, to guard your heart from harm, and to live without unnecessary noise. It is not about hiding who you are. It is about protecting who you are becoming. It is the shield that guards your destiny until you are ready to show the world the strength of your results. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the hardest lessons in life is realizing that not everyone who smiles at you has good intentions. Not everyone who listens to you truly cares, and not everyone who claps for you is celebrating your success. We are taught to believe that people are always happy for us, that they want to see us rise, that their compliments are sincere, but the reality is far more complicated. Not everyone is a well-wisher, and if you forget this truth, you may end up giving the wrong people too much access to your life. Some people come close to you, not because they admire you, but because they are curious about you. They want to know your story, not to support you, but to gossip about you. They want to listen to your struggles, not to help you overcome them, but to use them against you when the time comes. They will smile at you, ask questions, and pretend to care, but deep inside, their intentions are far from genuine. This is why it is dangerous to assume that every listener is a friend. The wrong ears can take your words and twist them into weapons. Ladies and gentlemen, there are also those who secretly envy you. They may never admit it, but your growth disturbs them, your progress unsettles them, and your happiness reminds them of what they lack. When you share too much with such people, you feed their envy. You give them fuel to criticize you, to question your worth, or even to sabotage you. Their smiles may hide their jealousy, and their encouragement may hide their bitterness. And if you are not careful, you may find yourself surrounded by people who appear supportive, but are silently hoping for your downfall. Not everyone is a well-wisher, because some people only want to see you at a certain level. The moment you rise above their expectations, the moment you dream bigger than they can imagine, they no longer cheer for you. Instead, they start to pull you back with words of doubt and discouragement. They will say things like, "Are you sure this will work?" Or, "Maybe you should stay where you are safe." At first, these words may sound like concern, but in reality, they are subtle attempts to keep you small. Some people cannot handle your growth because it reminds them of their own stagnation. And then, there are those who want to know your weaknesses, not your strengths. They pretend to care when you share your pain, but in reality, they are collecting information. The more they know about your fears, your struggles, and your insecurities, the easier it becomes for them to wound you. This is why it is dangerous to reveal everything about yourself. Not everyone deserves access to your vulnerability. The wrong person will use it as a weapon, and by the time you realize it, the damage will already be done. Ladies and gentlemen, not everyone is a well-wisher, and this truth may sound harsh, but it is not meant to make you bitter. It is meant to make you wise. You do not need to hate people or push them all away, but you must learn to discern. Discernment is the key that allows you to recognize who is genuine and who is not. Pay attention to actions more than words, because words can lie, but actions rarely do. Notice who celebrates your success even when it has nothing to do with them. Notice who supports you when you are silent, not just when you are shining. Those are the rare people who truly wish you well. But as for the rest, guard yourself. Protect your story. Limit the access you give. Not every person deserves to know your dreams. Not every person deserves to hear your struggles. And not every person deserves to be part of your journey. By keeping your circle small and your life private, you protect yourself from the harm of false well-wishers. You ensure that your energy is not wasted on those who only pretend to care. The truth is, life becomes more peaceful when you accept that not everyone is on your side. You stop expecting loyalty from those who are incapable of giving it. You stop seeking validation from those who are unwilling to provide it. And you stop being surprised when people reveal their true intentions. Instead, you focus your heart on those who genuinely love you, on those who celebrate your victories without envy, on those who pray for your success in silence without seeking credit. They may be few, but they are worth more than 1,000 empty smiles. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most beautiful truths about life is that real growth does not happen in the spotlight. It happens in silence. Just as a seed must be buried deep in the soil, away from eyes, away from recognition, away from applause, before it can grow into a tree, in the same way, our personal growth begins in the hidden places of our lives. We may crave attention, we may desire acknowledgement, but the truth is that growth is a quiet process. It is in the moments of solitude, in the moments of struggle, in the moments of silence that we transform. The world today often glorifies noise. We are told that if people don't see us working, if they don't hear about our progress, then it doesn't count. But growth is not about being seen. Growth is about becoming. The most powerful changes in a person's life often take place when no one is watching. Think of the butterfly inside its cocoon. Nobody sees its transformation. Nobody hears its struggle. But in silence, it goes through a painful process of breaking, reshaping, and strengthening until the day it emerges with wings. If that cocoon were broken too early, the butterfly would never fly. In the same way, when we expose our growth before its time, we weaken ourselves. Growth needs silence, because silence protects the process. Growth also happens in silence because silence forces us to confront ourselves. When the noise of the world is gone, when there are no distractions, when there is no audience to impress, we are left with only ourselves. And it is in that silence that we discover who we truly are. Growth is not always about achieving something external. Sometimes it is about healing internally. Sometimes it is about facing our fears, mending our wounds, or learning to forgive ourselves. These are deeply personal journeys, and they do not require validation from others. They require silence, reflection, and patience. Ladies and gentlemen, silence gives space for patience to do its work. Nothing meaningful grows overnight. A tree takes years to bear fruit, a river takes time to carve its path through stone, and greatness takes time to be built. In the silence of waiting, we develop strength. In the silence of failure, we learn resilience. In the silence of preparation, we sharpen our skills. The world may not see this process, the world may even think we are standing still, but beneath the surface, growth is happening. Just because it is unseen does not mean it is unimportant. In fact, the most important growth is the kind that nobody notices until it is complete. Growth in silence also protects us from premature criticism. When you reveal your dreams too soon, you invite opinions. When you expose your process too early, you attract judgment. And the truth is, not everyone understands your journey. Some will laugh, some will doubt, some will discourage. But when you grow in silence, you protect your dreams from the voices that could kill them. You give yourself the freedom to fail privately, to learn privately, and to rise privately until the day you are strong enough to reveal the results with confidence. There is also power in surprising people with the strength you built in silence. When you grow quietly, you don't just protect yourself, you prepare yourself. And when the moment comes, when your growth becomes visible, it speaks louder than any explanation you could have given. The same way a flower does not announce its blooming, it simply blooms. Your growth should be revealed through your results, not your declarations. People may wonder where your strength came from, where your success was built, how your resilience was shaped, and the answer will always be the same. It happened in silence. Ladies and gentlemen, silence is not emptiness. Silence is fertile ground. It is the space where character is built, where strength is formed, where patience is learned, and where greatness begins. Too often, people fear silence because they confuse it with stagnation. But silence is not stillness. Silence is growth in disguise. The roots of a tree grow deeper in silence before its branches rise higher in the sky. The foundation of a building is laid in silence before the structure touches the clouds. In the same way, your growth may be invisible today, but it is preparing you for a strength that will one day be undeniable. Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where everyone is rushing to announce their plans, defend their choices, and explain their intentions, there is a rare strength in simply letting results speak for themselves. Words are easy, promises are common, and explanations are endless, but results are undeniable. You don't have to convince people when your actions are powerful enough to show the truth. You don't need to explain your worth when your success is visible. There is freedom in understanding that silence paired with achievement is far louder than any words you could ever speak. So many people waste their time trying to prove themselves to others. They spend hours arguing, debating, or justifying why they made a decision, why they took a step, or why they chose a certain path. But the reality is that explanations rarely change minds. People will believe what they want to believe, and no matter how hard you try, you will never convince everyone. Instead of wasting your energy in endless explanations, channel that energy into action. Let your progress be your argument, let your growth be your statement, and let your results be your voice. Think of the greatest achievers in history. They did not waste time trying to explain to the doubters why their dreams mattered. They worked in silence, they stayed focused, and when their results came, the world could not deny them. Their actions silenced critics, their success silenced doubt, and their achievements silenced negativity. That is the power of letting results speak. A result does not need defense. It stands on its own. It commands respect even from those who once ridiculed it. Ladies and gentlemen, when you let results speak, you protect yourself from unnecessary negativity. Words can be twisted, explanations can be misinterpreted, but results cannot be denied. People may argue with your opinions, but they cannot argue with your success. They may doubt your vision, but they cannot doubt the evidence of your hard work once it manifests. That is why it is wiser to stay quiet and let your life do the talking. It is better to let your success explain what your words never could. Letting results speak also teaches you humility. When you no longer feel the need to boast, when you don't feel the urge to constantly defend yourself, you rise above the noise. You learn that true confidence is not in shouting, but in quietly working until the results are too big to be ignored. Humility keeps you grounded, and yet your results lift you higher than arrogance ever could. People are drawn to those who don't just talk, but who live what they speak. When your life becomes your proof, your influence becomes unshakable. There is also a sense of peace in letting results speak. You stop arguing with those who misunderstand you. You stop explaining yourself to those who never cared to listen. And you stop seeking validation from those who are incapable of giving it. You learn to walk your journey with focus and determination, trusting that one day your results will silence every voice of doubt. This peace allows you to work without distraction, to grow without fear, and to rise without unnecessary noise. Ladies and gentlemen, results also inspire in ways that words never can. When people see your success, it becomes proof that growth is possible, that change is real, and that dreams can come true. Your results may inspire someone who never believed in themselves. Your journey may ignite faith in someone who was ready to give up. By letting results speak, you are not only protecting yourself, but you are also becoming a silent motivator for others. People may forget your words, but they will never forget your example. It is also important to understand that results take time. They don't appear overnight, and while you are still building, people may doubt you, laugh at you, or even criticize you. That is when you must remind yourself to stay silent and focused. Do not waste your time proving yourself while you are still in the process of becoming. Be patient, trust the journey, and allow your results to arrive in their own time. And when they do, they will speak with a voice that cannot be denied. So, ladies and gentlemen, choose wisely. Do not waste your breath on those who only want to argue. Do not waste your strength on those who only want to judge. Save your energy for your work, save your heart for your growth, and save your focus for your journey. Because one day, when your results are revealed, they will speak louder than your words ever could. They will tell your story, they will defend your choices, and they will prove your worth. That is the unmatched power of letting results speak. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a certain kind of peace that can only be found when you learn to guard your story. Every person carries a story within them, a journey filled with pain, lessons, failures, victories, and dreams. But not every part of that story is meant to be shared with the world. Some chapters are sacred, some struggles are too delicate, and some victories are too personal to be placed in the hands of others. The moment you begin to share too much of your story with people who cannot understand, who do not value, or who do not have the capacity to hold it with respect, you invite unnecessary disturbance into your life. But when you guard your story, when you protect it like the treasure it is, you preserve your peace. Guarding your story means understanding that not everyone deserves access to the most intimate parts of who you are. There are people who will not see your pain with compassion, but with curiosity. There are people who will not see your victories with joy, but with envy. And there are people who will not see your struggles with encouragement, but with judgment. To hand over your story to such people is to give them the power to disturb your peace. Protecting your story keeps that power in your hands. It allows you to choose who is worthy of hearing, who is ready to understand, and who has earned the right to know your truth. Ladies and gentlemen, When you guard your story, you protect yourself from the weight of unnecessary opinions. The more people know, the more they think they have a right to speak into your life. They will begin to tell you what you should have done, what you should do now, and what you should never do again. And in that noise, you may begin to lose yourself. But when you keep your story guarded, you shield yourself from those voices. You create a quiet space where your heart and mind can remain clear, where you can walk your journey without the distractions of endless advice and criticism. That quietness is where peace lives. Guarding your story also means respecting your own journey. Some people are so quick to share every detail of their struggles that they fail to sit with them, to learn from them, and to grow through them. When you protect your story, you give yourself the time to heal privately, to reflect deeply, and to extract the wisdom hidden within your experiences. You do not rush to turn your pain into public words. Instead, you allow it to first transform you. That private transformation creates a strength that cannot be shaken, and with that strength comes peace. It is also important to understand that your story, once shared, cannot be taken back. Words released into the world cannot be erased. What you reveal may one day be repeated, twisted, or misused. This is why guarding your story is an act of wisdom. The parts of your life that you hold close to your chest remain safe, untouchable by gossip, untouched by jealousy, and unshaken by judgment. What is hidden cannot be harmed. And in knowing that your most personal truths are protected, your heart finds peace. Ladies and gentlemen, peace is not found in shouting your story for the world to hear. Peace is found in knowing that your story is yours and that you alone decide when, how, and to whom it is told. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is keep certain chapters locked away until the right time, or perhaps never share them at all. Your story is not an obligation, it is a privilege, and only those who honor that privilege deserve access to it. By keeping it guarded, you maintain control over your own narrative, and in that control lies calmness. Guarding your story is also an act of self-love. It says, I value myself enough to protect what I have been through. I value my journey enough to keep it safe from careless hands. I value my growth enough to preserve the parts of me that the world does not need to touch. That kind of love creates a deep inner peace because it frees you from the need to seek validation from others. You no longer crave approval because you know that your story's worth is not defined by who hears it, but by how it has shaped you. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is simple. Peace comes when you stop giving everyone access to the most fragile parts of yourself. Peace comes when you understand that your story is not for the world's entertainment, but for your own growth. Peace comes when you guard your journey like the sacred gift it is, protecting it from noise, from envy, and from careless judgment. And when you do that, you walk lighter, live calmer, and rise stronger, because your story remains yours, and in that guarded space, your peace is preserved. Don't let people know much about you. Let them see results, not your process. Let them see your victories, not your vulnerabilities. Let your actions speak louder than your explanations. And never forget, the less they know about your life, the more peaceful your journey becomes. Protect your energy, guard your story, and trust that in silence lies your strength.